So, fun fact: Karen or Kierans are Eastern dragon, are Eastern mythology creatures. They're basically dragon horses, and yeah, that's awesome. The Karen are
Yeah, that is
awesome.
really cool.
The Karen are
He
probably
sent me a picture of it, and it was like they kind of look like more of a Chinese mythological creature than anything else.
yeah. Honestly, the mythological concept of the Kieran may be actually cooler than the episode itself, which is last episode was character development. The episode, this episode, I would probably call pacing issues. The episode, but we'll get into that. Sup, I'm
Oh yeah,
Snake. Sup, I'm Snakeskin, and this is Juan Chiquito, and we're here
Juan
to talk.
Pequeño, get it right.
We're two neckbeard nerds that like to talk about ponies because I will only speak for myself. I'm very lonely inside. Hit me up.
So
Hit
once
me up in the
again,
DMs at
let's
snakeskin.com
tantalize the ASMR airwaves with our voluptuous voices.
or something akin to that. So the friendship map, right? It calls in Appleshy and Flutterjack, and Twilight's like, dude, this is so lit. And they're like, the map's called us before, and Twilight's like, yeah, but this is the first time it's called back the same pair of ponies. In which case, every brony watching the video probably paused the video and they were like, yeah, that's right. So,
You trying to say that the Brody fandom is that civil is laughable.
wow. Well,
But anyway,
it's 2018, my guy. We all have drinking problems or are on drugs now. So we've mellowed out. We mellowed out.
yeah. So so they're like, you're going to the end of the line with Equestria. So I'm thinking, oh, so you're going near Starlight Glimmer's village, but instead of actually going to the village, you're just gonna go a different way. So
Yeah,
they take the train to the end of the line, and then there's this really fucking weird pony that just keeps doing this crazy laugh of "You're at the end of the line." It's like
end of the
what?
line.
I'm just like, what the fuck? But it's still funny that Fluttershy is like freaked out by it. I'm like, yeah, I would be too.
Yeah. So they get on the train to go, and they come across this creepy train conductor that's like, I've never taken anybody to the end of the line before, which I swear could be a euphemism, but it sadly isn't. And they come to the forest, right? So they get to the forest and they meet the Karen.
Well,
And
first of all, Applejack and Fluttershy start moving. You see Applejack go through a bunch of stuff to get to the forest, to get to the edge of the Kieran forest, and she looks back, and Fluttershy is nowhere to be found. So she has to go all the way back, and it's through mud, and it's over a gorge and shit like that. And she finds Fluttershy talking to some squirrels by some flowers, which makes sense later in the episode, but you don't think that it's anything important as of right now. And it makes sense with the context of this episode because really, when these map episodes come out, you really think they're going to look into the elements of harmony that these characters represent, being kindness and honesty. And for once, it actually plays into the actual episode. So they get to the Kirin Forest, and these creatures are just staring at them, not doing anything outside of a slight head tilt.
the Karen have got this like the depression 1,000 yard stare where they're just like, just down pat. It's
Mm-hmm.
great. It's great. They're my spirit animal. The whole species is my one collective spirit animal. And Of course, and I love because of course, right? But I love that they had Applejack be the one to try to get him to talk because she does the whole "Do you speak Ponish?
Yeah.
I'm Applejack," and I'm just like, oh god, it's so Tarzan. It's great. So, so,
Well,
and I
it
like
kind of
how
reminds me of that scene from Infinity War. It's like Thor's like, "Hey, look at my new friend. This is Tree. I am Groot." And then you have Captain America going, "I am Steve Rogers."
I am Groot. No, Steve Rogers. I am Groot. I am Steve Rogers. Oh gosh, I don't feel so good, Applejack. Okay, the so Applejack's trying to get him to talk, and I love that Fluttershy points out, "Hey, they're not talking. We should probably find some other way to communicate with them." But then Applejack just tries to get him to talk anyway. Then she comes across what was the name of the Karen that helped her?
I forget her name, but she was seriously funny as hell.
You know
She was the
her.
kind of character that it makes sense within the context of the episode because she hadn't talked to someone else in a long time. And she's saying so many like big words and shit like that. And she's going on and on. And she makes a couple mistakes with some of her
Yeah,
words.
I love
And
that.
she corrects herself.
Yeah, she was like, "Man, I haven't spoken to anyone in a while. Okay, I'm like, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Do you know her voice actresses?
Mm-mm.
Rachel Bloom. You know what she's famous for?
Mm-mm.
Hold on. Okay. F me, Ray Bradbury,
Really?
sci-fi writer in history. Yeah, that's her.
Oh, cool.
I know, right? Who doesn't love Fahrenheit 450? Oh wait, no. What was it in the song? Fahrenheit 69.
That sounds
Okay.
like the Brazzers version of Fahrenheit 451.
So her song is, for the record, great. Her song is great.
Oh,
Her
yeah.
her voice acting is great. Her writing is great. She was great. She was so great. It was real. It was
Mm.
real how great she was.
And she
So
explains because back when they were with Twilight, they explained what the Kirin were, and then there was another race of beings that they also had to look out for that we later find out here is the bad sides of the Kirin when they get angry.
yeah,
And so
I think they're called the Narek or something. But I told John I couldn't remember the name, so I just called them the necrophagists.
so basically their backstory in song, because of course,
Yeah.
is that they had almost a utopian society. They were all kind and nice to each other, but then their opinions started to differ. They started to argue, and whenever they got mad, they would basically burst into flame,
Yeah,
and
it's
they burned down their entire village.
yeah, it's great. They go from, and you know what's funny, the whole, because to jump around a second, the whole message is, which when I read the synopsis, I thought it was going to be similar, like some kind of SJW thing, but it's all about feelings, and it's about how it's not about having these bad feelings, it's about what you do with them. And the whole time watching this episode, I just kept thinking to myself, if I were to analyze this with like Metallica terminology, they go ride the lightning to Saint Anger real quick, and it's great because I love both those albums, and it's just yeah, oh my god. So that's what I was thinking this whole time.
I
Like
hope
they
you
literally,
realize that I hope this from you. You're a fan of Saint Anger,
yes,
which is rare to find in a Metallica fan.
I will.
Would you also say you're a fan of Death Magnetic?
Yeah.
Well then, hurrah! We finally have two Metallica fans that love Death Magnetic.
The only Metallica record that comes close to I could say I probably don't like is Reload. But even then, you still got some cool songs. You got Fuel, Memory Remains, Unforgiven 2.
Mm-hmm.
Here
But
I
yeah,
go.
so anyway.
Turn the page. That's a cover song that they did, Bob Seger. But
yeah.
Yeah, so basically she's like, yeah, so we took a vow of silence, never hurt anyone's feelings again, but more importantly, so we don't burn down the whole goddamn village. So she's like, there's a way to cure it, but and wait, hold on, before that, there was a part in her backstory where I felt so bad for her because apparently at a young age they try to, like, what's the word? Not institutionalize, but they try to, like, indoctrinate the kids into this way of life, and they make them and they made her, like, try to choose between her voice or being silent like everybody. And I'm like, dude,
is this Little Mermaid shit? Like,
these last 2 episodes have been dark. I love it when the show goes dark.
Oh yeah,
because I don't know why. Call me an Eslor, but, like, characters going through traumatic events is the best way to develop someone. That or marry him. That's what I say. But anyway,
I'm very similar in that regard, because whenever there's a Scootaloo episode, I'm subtly wanting to see if she'll actually cry, because that is very cathartic for her, and it helps bring her into more maturity.
Yeah, the way I look at it is Scooter abuse in the streets, but Scooter love in the sheets.
Yep.
That's actually, let me take that back, because that metaphor just in my head just went somewhere horrible. So anyway, she's like, yeah, I had to make a choice to either live with my friends and family or to live in solitude forever. And that sucks, but there's a way to cure it, because there's these flowers. I forget what they're called. There's these flowers. I put them in the water, and then people drink them, and then everybody talks again. Some more stuff happens. And then she talks to the freaking Karen, and she's like, dude, you used to love talking. You used to love jokes. Dude, you used to like Nostalgia Critic before 2008. No, before 2012. What happened? And they're like, they're miming, which I don't know why. The idea having these characters communicate without talking was really cool, because to me that's like one of the coolest things animation can do, is when they have characters communicate, not through verbal usage. So that was cool. So the Karen are super cool. And then Applejack and Fluttershy. Here's the weird part. I almost feel like it sounds like when they wrote the episode that the whole Karen mythology and arc and stuff like that, it felt like it was real laid out, real planned, beginning, middle, and end. But then they were like, wait a minute, we don't have any ponies, any like of the main cast in here. Send Applejack and Fluttershy. It felt like they were tacked on in their own episode. This didn't feel like Applejack and Fluttershy's episode. This felt
like, at the same time, it makes sense. To kind of add to that, it has a lot of bad pacing issues, especially with, it feels like ever since they get into the Kirin village up to the end of the episode, it felt like it was on fast forward. But
we mentioned that, like, before we started, where it was like build up, and then go conclusion.
Yeah. Now, this is something I want to mention, because I thought this is what the episode was going to be when I heard the synopsis. There was a rejected episode from way back in season 1. This was back when Lauren Faust still was showrunner. And there was a rejected concept, and I believe it was told by Amy Keaton Rogers, that Rainbow Dash and Applejack were going to find this group of deer that were located within the Whitetail Woods, and they were going to help them in some way. And I actually thought that's what this episode was going to be, because of how the synopsis sounded. Turns out that wasn't the case, but for some reason I can't find any information of it anymore. I know it was there, so audience, if you happen to know of any articles that point to that, please let me know, because I swear that was a rejected episode idea from way back in the series.
Yeah, yeah, that it's funny. I was actually reading something about that. Do you remember the Fighting Is Magic fan game that got canceled?
And then became them fighting herds.
Yeah, so like apparently, because you know how Lauren Faust like helped out with it.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of sort of included a Karen in there, but kind of sort of didn't and wish she did. I thought that's where you were gonna go, where you were gonna bring that up and talk about how, the Karen actually made it in MLP now or something.
Mm.
So yeah,
Not
so
quite.
so yeah, the episode ends with, I'll tell you this. The pacing issues aside, pacing issues are pretty blatant and like really noticeable for me, but the Karen's backstory and designs and everything involving them and the message to me make up for it, just because if you think about it, kids shows don't really talk that much about, at least the ones I remember as a kid don't really talk too much about it. Whenever the subject of anger and stuff comes up, they always try to like encourage the protagonist slash audience surrogate to like, oh, you've gotta control your anger, or you gotta let things go or not be as angry. They, and I
Let
know
it
they don't
roll
mean
off your back.
kind of, and like I know they're not meaning to do this, but it almost always sounded like they were trying to encourage suppressing it. That's probably not what they were trying to do, but that's what it felt like. This episode was stripped. Like, yeah, that's why it reminded me of Saint Anger, because the whole point of the documentary was the Metallica dudes had so much anger and frustration built up within them. They wanted to try to use it, because they'd all been through rehab, they were clean and had their families and stuff. So they were trying to use it healthily, and that's what it's about. Well, the episode's like that too, because the episode's like, yeah, you're gonna have anger, but you shouldn't be afraid of it or try to get rid of it. You just have to accept it and like work things out. And I'm like, you know what? That's great. That's real great.
It's definitely great looking at it from the perspective of our culture right now, because our culture has always been told, both men and women, don't talk about your feelings, bottle your anger and other emotions up inside. The problem is, it kind of happened with All Bottled Up as well.
I was gonna bring that up, yeah. And
Where
then
if you
when
keep
she
bottling up your emotions, it'll eventually boil over.
and it
Whereas in
drains
All
you, and
Bottled Up, it came out from the glass jar,
yeah.
which made sense. But with this, it's just like, it's not healthy. You know, it's healthy to express anger and express emotion. But again, it's how you handle it.
Yeah, that's the key thing about this episode and All Balled Up that's separated from other things, is that it says don't be afraid of your anger. You need to express it, but it also stresses the point to not live in it and not like have it like overtake you, which it's a simple enough thing, but it's, at least it seems like it's a hard thing for people to, for shows or for characters in various medias to either talk about or to even try to say, so it's refreshing to see that, not in the sense of, oh, this validates me in a typically quite emotional or angry person. No, it's just like, it's like, okay, that's cool. It's literally, it's a simple don't be afraid of your feelings a message, but it's cool, it's good, it's something that, and this parlays into it. At my bookstore, Barnes and Nobles, we have a whole new section now for like child development. Like we have like stuff for infants and like age 4 to 13, parenting, how to raise kids with ADHD. We have this whole other section of books for like mindfulness, empowerment, feelings, and stuff like that. And it's all about like teaching kids. It's not like teaching kids to meditate or nothing, but it's all about trying to help them almost come to terms with feelings or something like that. And I'm just, and it's funny because it pisses me off. I'm like, man, Where was that? When I was a kid, I just got mad, got in fights at school, and then my parents were real disappointed in me for a couple days.
Then again, we are 90s kids.
Technically,
So,
my friends born in '92 were like, "You weren't real '90s kids," and I'm like,
no, I
"Yeah,
don't
well,
see it that way. If you were born between 90 and 99, you're a 90s kid. But I'll tell you this. There was a Tumblr post that I saw that makes sense for why a lot of 90s kids are like so pissed off at the world is that we were right in the middle of the generation that still played out on the street and used sidewalk chalk and rode bicycles. And then it transitioned into computers and smartphones and technology where everything was just on such an upward climb. And the generation before us didn't have that. And the generation after us have been hopelessly addicted to it with the social media craze and everything.
I
Now, we were also the kids that were told hard work actually still meant something.
yeah."
And then that was brutally dashed when the housing market burst. And basically, no one gives a damn about your hard work anymore.
Yeah.
And so we're not just nostalgic, we're bitter, and we constantly yearn for the days that working hard and having fun still meant a damn.
But it's not like the baby boomers where like, they want to go back to a time when they were like where it's a different time where like it's in the sense of, I mean, we came from a good era, there was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things that were still wrong and off, but like, and I'm only speaking for myself, but I grew up in a town, where there was no racially segregated water fountains, where there was no like, where there was no like, well, at least not in Morro Bay, the town I live in. I mean, not no police brutality. I mean, over in Fresno, kind of, yeah, but it's like, I don't know. It almost makes you wonder: were things always this bad, or are they gotten worse? Has this
Yeah.
stuff always been there, or are we just able to see it all now?
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Yeah.
little, look, bro. This episode's great, and it's conversations like this why I'm glad that I make music to keep myself sane, and B, I have a Disneyland annual pass.
Mm-hmm. So, what would you rate this episode?
8 3/4. I can't say it's anything more than that. I was thinking 8.5, but I was like, I really like the Karen and the message. So 8 3/4.
Okay. I'm going for 8.5 because very, very similar reasons. It did have a good message. The Kieran were pretty interesting. But again, the episode felt like it was in fast forward. This was kind of the opposite of Buckball season. Because if you remember when we did that episode, we literally talked about how the pacing of that episode was really fucking slow. Here it
Yeah.
was really freaking fast.
At least Buckball season gave some screen time to at least that episode gave some screen time to some barely used characters, and it had those it had those, I think, who is it, Snips or Snails? I think it was Snails. No, Snips. It had the whole Snips is Zenyatta from Overwatch meme going for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
So that was great. But yeah, next week is something with Spike.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, he finds his dad.
He what?
Well, someone claiming to be his dad,
Hmm.
which doesn't make sense, but hey, who knows? Maybe all those headcanons of Celestia stealing Spike when he was a baby actually had some canonical merit.
And is this also the episode where we're probably going to see him meeting Pee Wee again?
I
Because
hope
that would be
so.
freaking awesome.
I hope so, because the shit said that he's going. to the Badlands to visit Pee-wee. Not the Badlands, the Dragonlands to visit Pee-wee. I think it said that. He could just be visiting Princess, what's her face?
Ember.
Princess
Tsundere.
God, ain't that the goddamn truth?
So, but yeah, that's our review. So we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys next week. Stay classy,
Peace out,
San
Dragon.
Diego. Stay classy.